I don't get it. Good afternoon. My name is Bryan Pereyo. I'm from a company called Kinum Debt Collection Agency. I'm one of the regional owners here at Kinum, and I'm here today to talk about the advantages that my firm brings to credit unions across the country. We work for many here in the United States, including some in Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, California, in the Midwest, Minnesota, and so forth. We currently started a major campaign to work with even more credit unions across the country, and we've had great process and growth throughout Florida, Texas, Louisiana, Minnesota, Ohio, and again California and Washington State. So I decided today was a good day to sit down and talk to you about the advantages that Kinum brings to debt collection agencies across the country, and more important, the quality of the service that we bring and the ROI, or the return to your bottom line, that we bring in our three-phase process. Kinum brought us three phases: a flat rate debt collection, okay, a contingency, and then a legal. And our actually legal is broken into two parts. So I'd like to talk to you today. But understand one thing: Kinum takes a lot of pride in being compliant. So when you're looking for a collection agency, my question would ask to you is, do they have a red flag policy? Have they been SOC audited? We've been SOC audited 4 times, and each time our rating goes up and up and up. Okay, theft and identity prevention. Okay, Fair Debt Collection Act, and currently the newest regulation that went into effect November 30th of 2022. It's called Reg F, which now allows us to text, okay, and email your clients or your past due accounts for debt collection. So compliance is a big issue, and if a collection agency makes a mistake, the fines can be quite heavily. So I greatly tell you to sit down and make sure you do your due diligence when hiring a debt collection agency across the country. So let's talk about step 2, our first process. In our first process, Kinum goes out for less than $15 or less per case. We send your members 5 demands, letting them know to contact your office, not mine, your office, and you collect the money and you keep 100%. Many credit unions I've been talking to recently say, oh, well, what's your contingency rate? 25, 30, 35, 33. And I said, well, what about if I did it for $15 a case and you get to keep 100%? And they were shocked to hear this. We've had great success. One of my current clients has been with me for over 10 years, has put in over 5.4 million recently in the last few years, and we've collected 3.46 million for them for a cost of less than $190,000. Yes, single digit cost to collect the money. But here's the beauty of it. They're not even waiting. Most collection agencies collect the money like we do and then pay once a month to you. When the money's paid directly to you, it goes right into your account and right to your bottom line. Now, collection agencies across the country, depending on the state, have the right to make that payment once a month, once every 2 months, and some states even up to once every 3 months. So instead of waiting 1, 2, or 3 months to get that money into your account and your ability to use that cash flow, it's now sitting in the debt collector's account. In Kinum's process, the money goes directly to you. Now, that success is about 54% nationwide. In certain regions and certain credit unions that work with us to get the highest recovery, we've gone as high as 67.8% recovery. That's right. Over 2/3 of what we're requested to ask to collect, we've collected. Why would they work with us? There's no secret to debt collection. It's about being diplomatic and working people. Why do we talk about diplomatic? Well, Kinum stands for family before numbers. So when we talk to people, your members, we talk to them just as kind and polite as you do and professionally when they come in for normal service. We're not here to beat them over the head. We're here to work with them to try to get them back on track. We all know that inflation right now, potential recession, you can talk whatever language you want to use. Right now, the economy is a tough market, and people are struggling to make ends meet, and they might fall behind. But where Kinum works with the credit union is get them back into the office and let you work with them to work out a payment plan that works for both of you. That system, if you put in 10 accounts, we're probably going to collect 5 or 6, maybe as many as 7. But there's going to be 3 or 4 that are going to go into the next step. That's a contingency process. And depending on the volume, that rate will fluctuate between 40 to 30%, depending on what we need to do. In that process, my collectors go out, all based here in the United States, no call centers out of the United States, all based here in the United States. We'll be calling them and working with them to collect those funds. Okay. When they collect those funds, once a month, we will ACH you that payment. Okay. So there's a second bite at the apple. The first was the flat rate. The second bite was our step 3 process, our contingency. We give you 2 more bites at the apple in our third step, which is our legal process. The first step when it goes into the legal process, and this is probably 1 or 2 accounts that don't get collected out of that 10, and they get reviewed in our pre-litigation group, and they go through an algorithm. And if it requires legal action and it qualifies, and I use the word qualify because a lot of them don't qualify because whatever their issue may be, and we can go over that in more detail. The ones we do, we send you a letter and we request you to sign off giving us permission to go after them legally. If you decide to do that, we do that. But in the while we're doing that review and running their credentials through our algorithm, we are sending you a notification that they're in pre-litigation, but we're also sending them letters letting them know that we're in the process of setting up a potential lawsuit to sue them. That ends up sometimes, not all the time, I would say around 21% of the time, ends up getting a call from them and trying to work something out. Yes, they try to settle for less, but at this point, half a loaf of bread, third of a loaf of bread, 2/3 of a loaf of bread are better than none. Okay, so there's that apple. Last but not least is if you sign off on that legal process and we sue, we take to court. In that process, it's a 50-50 split, whatever we get. And we work with you on that and show you that. So basically what I call cradle to grave services, we have the flat rate, which allows you to keep 100%. The contingency rate, what allows you to get a second bite at that apple. And then our legal process, it gives 2 mini bites, as I call them, at 1 more chance to try to collect. Everyone that goes through the Kinum process gets reported to the credit bureau if that's what you request, and you supply the information that's required by law for us to put them in. That's a big issue. A lot of people say they put people into the credit bureau for bad credit. They really don't, because you don't supply them the information and they say, oh, we can't put them in. Kinum works hard with you to understand and show you what's needed to be done to transfer to Kinum for us to be able to put somebody into that process. So again, all about compliance. So in a credit union in today's world where debt collection is highly regulated, even more so now after Reg F, we specialize in working with you and just recently passed that SOC audit for the 4th time. So I'd like to show you this process and up close and personal and work with you and try to improve your bottom line. I want you to think, one of my clients, as I just recently said, over 5.4 million, collected over 3.46 million, okay, for a cost of less than $200,000. An average agency on $3.4 million, on 3.4 million, would have took a minimum of 25% of that money. Okay, we're not talking, we're talking over $700, over $800,000 instead of paying less than $190,000. That's $600,000 plus to your bottom line. That's the advantage of using Kinum. I want to thank you for listening today. I hope you subscribe to the YouTube channel here. We have many different other conversations coming around about the new laws, different states, different procedures, and why we feel these procedures are successful in today's market that may have not been successful the last 3 or 4 years, maybe the last 8, 9 years. But understand one thing, Kinum does stand for Family Poor Numbers. We believe in diplomatic debt collection, and we work with you to increase your bottom line. And last but not least, that flat rate system allows you to maintain your membership, because if we get to them early enough, we get them back on track, they stay members. And the average cost, they're telling me, to capture a new member in a credit union is anywhere from $4,000 to $7,000. So at $15, you get paid the money that's owed to you, plus you get to save somewhere between 4 to 7,000 per having to go track a new member. Thank you and have a great day. What?